Okay, what I got for you today is we've been working on the brass RSD15. It's been cleaned up. It's got a dusting of primer on it. As you can see, it doesn't, I don't have a thick coat on here. You can see brass through it. I've also dusted the 10 Shoto. And we're going to go with red, my usual favorite. I'm going to do red on these. But before we do that, what we need to do is, I have a tentative plan to go ahead and do red, and then I want to try some Games Workshop Citadel. Whoops. This is what it looks like. Let's see if we can get this to focus on it. Okay, I want to do this. That is going to be what I'm going to use as a panel liner. Normally, as a panel liner, I would want to use this, which I normally do. And this is really good stuff. Definitely for fine scale. Comes with its own brush. It's, I love it. But I want to try a new technique, and that will be using the Games Workshop method. But since I haven't tried it before, we need to try it on something. And that's why we've got this here. That is a lifelike, yes, a lifelike GP38-2. I cleaned the shell in the ultrasonic cleaner, and I gave it a dusting of primer. This is going to be our test bed. If we do something on here and mess it up, it doesn't matter. I can throw it back in the cleaner and redo it again some other time. But before we go to the important models, we're going to try it on this. Now here's the mechanism. Okay, standard Pancake motor. Picks up both sides from the rear truck only. The front truck has rubber traction tires. And rubber traction tires are not rare, and they are not difficult to get. Easy to replace. Simple. So what I want to do first, I want to break this down for you. It's been a while since we've done a Pancake motor rebuild. I just tested it, and I may have done some work on it in the past because it does run, and it runs decent. But I'm gonna go ahead and break it down for you. A lot of people have these. They got them when they were kids, and if yours doesn't work, too many times you'll go into a forum or a group or somewhere and say, hey, how do I fix my lifelike locomotive? And the first response you're going to get is, oh, you should just throw it away and you should junk it. Don't do that. There's not a thing wrong with these. Nothing is wrong with them. This is from the 70s. It works. People are like, oh, they wear out fast. That's just bull crap. They don't wear out. They take a severe beating, and they never wear out, because you see them at train shows all the time. A couple of bucks, and it takes almost nothing to get them working. And that is what we're going to do here. So right now, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to break this thing down right here, and we're going to take a look at it. So let's get some tools here. Start with our big screwdriver, and we're just going to pop off. Wait, first I want to show you something. One of the things I have to do on this, okay, these had truck mounted couplers, right? They're on the front end here. If you can see that, there's a mounting point for couplers. Okay, this is pretty good for a 1970s design. It's pretty good. And I measured them on the track. They line up perfectly, but I am missing some steps on the backside here. And as an exercise, since we can do what we want to this, I want to make an insert here to fill this gap to make it look like a real pilot. And I want to make a mount point to screw in a Katy coupler and I want to make new stairs for the back here. So we got to take this perfectly good mechanism, and we're going to end up removing the mount points and building a new mount point. And we're going to 3D print that. I don't feel like messing around with making styrene blocks and cutting and gluing and crap. We're just going to design one, and we're going to 3D print it and just glue it in place. So let's take these trucks, these side frames off. These have been primered in black, so that tells me that I have already done a bunch of work to this thing. Now there's two little tabs on them. Yeah, probably not the right tool, but they just come off. And let's see if we can back up just a little bit. There we go. Okay, so they come off. Wheels pop out. There is a little piece in the middle that keeps the wheels. It's kind of like a shock absorber. Let's take a look. Looks pretty good. I mean, I'm guessing that I have already done this one once before. Okay. So then, let's do the front one. Now some of them do not have all traction tires. This one does, which means that this thing will pull anything. What do we got here? This looks... Let's see, can we get a better spotlight on that? See if I shine a flashlight on it. There we go. Okay, that's what it looks like. Now, I'm guessing that I did not do this part here, because that is not the kind of grease that I use. I see a little bit of my red grease in there, so I may have just greased this to test it. But there it is. Looks in pretty decent shape. These are not complicated. And when you take it apart, if it's your first time and you don't remember, just go ahead and take some pictures, and that will help you. You get some pictures of what you're doing, you'll be able to get it back together. You should not have a problem. Okay, let's get some more light over here. Now, let's go ahead. Take this thing out. This thing is really clean. I mean, this is really clean. I can see that I have cleaned the wheel sets, and I know that these are definitely traction tires I get. They come in a bag of them. Oh, and that is grease I put on these axles. Now, I can definitely see some old grease in here. I'm going to do something about that. Okay. Now, we're going to unsolder. Actually, if you're doing this, I better do this the way you should do it. Take your red Sharpie. Thankfully, this thing is wired up where when it's sitting on the track facing forward and on your controller the arrow is pointing that way, this red wire, if they use red, you want it to be on the side facing you. Okay? Red on the right rail, black on the left rail. They're using blue and red, but red goes on. That's the way I like to wire it up. Red on the right, black on the left, and it should travel in the direction of the arrow on your controller. We'll show you that later. But right now, just so I don't forget, I'm going to mark this little metal tab here. I'm going to mark it with red so that I remember that that is the one that makes it go forward. Okay, that's where I want my red wire to be. Just take the soldering pencil here, go ahead and what do we got here? This thing might have connector rings on it. Let's find out. Something possibly does have connector rings. It does. That's okay. We don't really. Sometimes what they did was they put ring connectors on the ends of these wires and then screwed them in place. And I took off the light. We're not going to reuse this light. It does work, but maybe we ought to throw some LEDs in here just for fun. I don't see any reason we can't do that. Alright, now let's see if we can. We're going to go ahead and take the weights out. And if they are in there that tight, take a screwdriver. Now, if you don't have, as you can see, I use a particle board workbench. That's what I like. It does not mean you should use one, because everything you will ever read about building model trains, they say don't use particle board, because it does work. And it does, but I know that, and I have made accommodations to handle warping where it needs to be. But if you have a smooth workbench, or if you follow the instructions in one of those books, they'll tell you to use cabinet grade plywood. I would suggest taking a little towel. Take a little shop towel. One of these guys. Okay? And let's line up our parts on here. That will keep them from rolling onto the floor. Okay? That's a good idea right there. Sometimes things go on the floor and they're gone forever. You will find them long after you have purchased a new one. Or if you want to find it sooner, buy a new part right away, and then you'll find the lost part. Okay, these things have these slabs of different weights in them, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. Now I'm going to tell you a secret. When these wheels are on the track and they contact the track, to get good pickup, a heavier weight on them makes a better connection. Okay, so, and it doesn't have to be a super heavy weight. You can add just a little weight to the back end here. There's plenty of room in this shell. Add a little extra weight on the back on the pickup truck, and they're more reliable. Now, it is true, they are one truck pickup. So, those of you that if you're running around as a toy train, these are perfect. You only need one truck pickup to run around your loop. And as long as your track has been clean. Alright, let's get this out. Don't use needle nose pliers like I just tried to do. There are two tabs in here. We need to just press them in, and out comes the truck. There it is. Alright, then the front one here, some of these have a screw-on retainer. This one does not have it. So that means you should just gently, a little bending here, plastic frame. I think we will slip right out. But anyways, what were we talking about? On a toy train set, and these things are perfect. If you were getting a first train for a kid, and especially if you're on a budget, these locomotives with clean wheels, and I'm going to show you a secret to make them even better. With clean wheels, and you will have endless amounts of fun. Here's the frame. Now, I am going to primer this frame, and I'm going to use a Walmart brown camouflage, the dark brown camouflage. Lately, I've really been liking that. Here's the Tenchoto brass fuel tank. It starts out like this, but later when I go back and start working on this paint a little bit, it's a good primer, takes dry brush good, I can panel line it, and it should look just right. One of the things I've noticed, you will see in model magazines, where many locomotives have a white dusting effect on their fuel tanks and trucks. Right now I have a slideshow going on my big screen of 1,400 pictures of locomotives that I took. And maybe it's just the places I've been, but that white dusting is not there. That brown camouflage matches very closely pretty much everything. It's either brown or it's black. The couple of locomotives I've seen with silver colored trucks usually have kind of a greasy brown streaks on them. But I do not see locomotives, no matter how old or dirty they are, I have not seen ones that have that white dusting on them. That may be common elsewhere, but it's not common for me, so I don't do it. So I use the brown camouflage. And it's good stuff. If you wanted to do that dry brush and make that white dust on there, you sure could. Alright, what we want to do here with this motor is I want to clean these gears. Now, what's the deal with this? Pancake motor. The deal with the Pancake motor is it is a slot car motor. And we're going to disassemble it and take it apart. Now, it has already been something done because it is clean. And I know there's some usage on this locomotive. It's been run as somebody's Christmas present. Alright, here's the risky part. There are 2 screws, one on each of these tabs. Okay, the red one is going to be our front one. Underneath this part is a spring on top of a little piece of round graphite. The spring and the graphite is called the brush. If you open this, that spring will fly out and it will be gone forever. Now you can get, it's a phosphor bronze spring, and if you can find any other one that will fit in this hole, it will work as a replacement. Because these springs, you can find them on eBay once in a while, but like I've said before, things like springs, brushes, and gears, and motors and things, they are not rare. They're not special. They were not made one-off time by this company, Lifelike, for this motor. They're used in many other things. If you have a Pancake motor and you need springs and brushes or parts for it, the first place that you could go look is to the guys who do slot car racing, because they have tons of parts on hand. Okay, that's a little melty in there. Okay, I'm holding my finger over it. It's loose. Now I'm going to carefully let it go. I'm going to take my tweezers and pull it up. There's the spring. See it? See that spring right there? Now, let's see if I can do this. Take my tweezers, carefully put it on the towel where it cannot get away from me, and then tap out the brush. There it is. Okay, that's one. Let's do another one. Yes, slot car guys. Oh yeah, there's some corrosion on this. Slot car guys have parts, springs and brushes, because this motor is used in slot cars. And somewhere in the past, people said, oh, this motor is junk and it wears out and it burns out. You can burn it up. You can smoke it, basically. And especially if you've got old steam engines. Steam engines use this type of Pancake motor. Usually it's in a white housing. And if your drivers on the side of your steam locomotive are not ready, if they're not quartered and aligned, and stuff, and the jam will smoke the motor. You smoke the motor, and that's where it gets a really bad reputation from. In a diesel, you don't have that problem that often. Alright, did we get all the screws? Let's see here. Did we get everything? What are we missing here? Aha. The tab. Yeah, darn it. I don't remember which way this thing comes. Okay. I'm looking for the crease, and I see it. I can get my screwdriver down there and just a little wedge in it. I can open it, which is what I want to do. And I want to show you the motor itself, the core. There it is. Let's see if I can show you what the core looks like. Okay, it's pressed plastic. I'm going to be gentle. I've already got the important pieces out. There are these tiny little washers. They are called bushings. I'm going to show you what to do with those. You don't want to lose them. It's not the end of the world if you do. They are also not rare. You just have to know where to look. In this day and age, when you have access to an RC store where they sell drones and they sell remote control cars and all that kind of stuff, a lot of these parts are there. Okay, so now gears come out. Gears are on these posts. Do not worry about getting the gears messed up. When it goes back together, I will show you. But I'm going to give you a quick little piece, a quick tip here. These gears, I like to say, as I've said in my other videos, everybody goes down. I'm going to show you what I mean by that. Everybody goes down when you're putting this thing together. Okay, all of these gears have two sides to them. They're double gears. Okay. Now, let's get our spotlight here. Okay, do you see that underside gear right there? Come on, give me a focus. Give me a focus. God dang, autofocus. Alright, so all the gears have a big gear, and then they have a small gear. Okay, we're going to have some autofocusing problems. There it is, small gears. All small gears go down as you are looking at the brass gear. When the core is in there and the brass gear is in there, then all the big gears are on top, and the little gear on the back side of your gear is on the bottom. Okay, and it goes biggest is on the top. The big one goes on the top, and it meshes with the brass gear. Okay, so we take the big one off. We're going to wash all these gears. Okay, next you've got two small gears. You can see that. You know, that looks like something I saw on Rick and Morty. That gearhead guy. Okay. These do not have their own posts. They're next. And remember, everybody goes down. So all little guys are on the backside. Then you have these ones that are on the post. Okay, those are last. Oh, this one is on the post. It doesn't matter if they come off the post because the post comes out. Okay, what we are left with is this. We have the magnets and the core. These magnets, you can actually buy new magnets, replacement magnets, which are even stronger. They are also the same magnets in the Tyco Power Torque. One of my other favorite motors to work on is the Power Torque. This is what I love about Pancake motors. I can take this thing totally apart, clean it up, fix it up, tune it up, and put it back in service. This is my heavy duty motor. You're not taking the core out of this. You're just not. If it goes bad, it's done. Toss it, gone. You're not fixing it. Okay, that's your typical, yeah, it's got a strong magnet. This, if this goes bad, everything in here you can get a replacement for. This is a slot car motor right here. And I'm like, oh, don't take out the core because you're going to wreck it. It's never going to work again. Wrong. Take out the core all the time. So don't take out the magnets, you're going to wreck it. You can replace the magnets. And they aren't expensive. Okay? These magnets look good. We're keeping them. But I got to wash the grease out of here. So I got to make sure when I take the core out, here is a phosphor bronze little bushing. That one stays in there. These little tubes are metal. They will come out if you are too rough on this. They'll come out. So we want to wash all the grease out of here and the old hardened oil and stuff. We're going to do that. We're going to do that in the sink with a toothbrush and some dish soap and some degreaser. Here's the core. This core looks pretty clean. The core, I'm going to polish the face with this Dremel tool, soft metal wheel. Do not, as I said before, use this one. This will rip the core apart. The core is essentially a PC board. That means it's made out of this computer, I forget what they call this PC board, and it is cut to a shape, and it is milled across so that it conducts in 3 areas. That other brush will rip it apart, and that's bad. Also, remember when I said thrust washer? There's a tiny little plastic washer on this one. Some of them have metal. There's one on the back and there's one on the front. It goes between the shaft and the phosphor bronze bushing, and it helps it turn better. So don't lose those. If you do lose them, or they are missing, they are not rare, and you can get it. You look around, you will find slot car guys somewhere near you who will have tons of them. Not only that, slot car guys will know where parts can be obtained online. Okay, I'm going to polish this face. Some people say, oh, don't do this, you're going to wreck it. I've been doing this the same way. Oh, I just tossed off the bushing, and thank God it went right under the towel. Some people say, oh, no, you can't do that. Wrong. You can totally do this. And if you look at my old videos, U36B, where I do this, that thing still works. Works great. Nothing wrong with it. Alright, that's all I need to do on that. You need to get yourself some tweezers like this. When I used to do it without tweezers, it was a lot harder. Once upon a time, I read from one of the past masters. I don't remember which one, but they said, get yourself some good tweezers and learn how to use it. No doubt, that is how you do it. Alright. We now have the entire thing disassembled. What my plan is I'm going to rewire this. I'm just going to keep this red and blue wire. Oh, these little things right here. Alright, let's do this part now. Okay, this is the pickups. They go against the back side of these wheels that have no gears on them. Okay, they're called wipers. I'm going to polish them quickly with this. It doesn't take much. Polish them. I'm keeping the wire that's already on here, so I'm not going to worry about that part. Okay. They're polished. Now I'm going to take my favorite stuff, ox guard. You can get it at any hardware store. This tube, I've used it on everything. I use it to coat all my track. And use this on brass track. You take that Walmart brown camouflage paint. You paint your track. Then you take sandpaper. Yes, sandpaper. Don't listen to those people who say do not use sandpaper. You get yourself some sandpaper. 600 or higher. I have some 1,000. I use 1,000. I sand off the top of the rails till they're bright and shiny. And then I coat it with this. And if somebody recently wrote something about why tracks get dirty from the sparking, from where the metal wheel causes little sparks as it's going down the track, and that makes, bolt of lightning, you get carbon from that. Yes, that makes tracks dirty. But this ox guard almost entirely eliminates that, prevents oxidation. And let me tell you right now, if nickel silver was so great, how come the wipers in your locomotives are not made of nickel silver? They're either made of phosphor bronze or copper.